Welcome to the Benjamin Zulu Show. I hope you're having a great time. Now, let me tell you what happens before we even begin the show. I have my own personal sessions. I don't know if I should be paying for them, but somehow I sneak in a thing and I'm sharpened and I'm taught. But then it looks like I'm not the only one who's getting this, because I see Sabina Fally on Facebook who says, but where were you back then? Where were you? Then you continue to ask, who can still make silly mistakes with all this free mentorship? Naivety has taught many the hard way. We agree. Thank you for helping many of us come out of the miry clay and learn self-realization. And, just to thank you for doing this.
Most welcome.
I don't think we can afford you, but, but we are here.
I don't know. One girl has just posted me a heartbreaking question.
Oh.
That she got pregnant with this guy just after Form 4.
And?
Started living with him, then going to college while staying with him. But he's very abusive, narcissistic. Life has become so hard. He tries to leave, comes back, tries to leave, manipulates. Please help me. How do you help that person?
So they're asking you on your page, meaning they follow your conversations.
Yes.
On YouTube as well.
Many of them pop in the first time they see you, then they draw the situation. Remember, people are preoccupied with their own situations.
That's so true.
Even a pimple on the face. It's more important to them than who you are elsewhere.
Yeah.
So when people contact me many times, the first time when they've known me, the first time they'll tell me their situation. So Sabina is asking about free mentorship, and that's what I was looking for that time.
Yes. Did you get
the world? I did not get it. That's why I became that.
Yeah.
The world has been trivializing sex, as long as it's between two consenting adults.
Yeah, you're 18 and above.
Here is a girl who got involved in sexually with a guy, got pregnant, and now she's in a deathly trap.
What do you do? How do you handle?
No, she needs a practical rescue from the family, not me.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm just wondering, that's a lot.
If she's willing, but many of them talk like they're willing today, tomorrow they're uncooperative. You bring them, they sneak back.
Yes.
And she said she was a very bright girl. That's how the enemy hunts destinies. Let's talk about dishonesty.
Yes, please. So see how we just got carried away with that. So today we're talking about dishonesty and how do you tolerate it? What does it mean? If it's a simple thing as something that you mentioned on Facebook, Zulu, and you said, if someone is running late for an appointment and they keep lying about where they are, for the simple reason that they do not want to take responsibility for keeping you waiting, for being late, for delaying you, for taking advantage of your time, what else can they own up to? Do we look at those little things as major things? Someone's go like, they're just trying to cover their back. Little dishonesty.
And because it has become so common, we're in the same matter to many of you, and people are being asked where they are, and they're reporting different locations.
Yes.
What degree of dishonesty have we got into?
And whispering, I'm in a meeting. And then
wacha nikupigie, then they sleep. Wacha nikupigie, then they sleep. Others, we almost. One reason we don't see it seriously is because it's pervasive. It's very widespread. Looks like it's normal. And yet you, when you are the one being lied to, you feel very infuriated.
Yeah.
When a person, and I've been teaching this young generation some work ethics, that one work ethic is to report exactly how long it will take you to be here. If we are meeting at 8 and you're not here at 8, don't tell me I'm on the way.
No.
What is that? You can be on the way 3 hours away, 500 kilometers away. Saying I'm on the way doesn't help me.
No.
Tell me how long it will take you to be here, or tell me where you are so that I can estimate myself. So that in the intermediate, I use that time usefully. If I'm pending somewhere waiting for you, and you keep lying where you are disabling me from making any applying this time usefully.
You're just reminding me of somebody who broke my heart, but it's fine.
We did many, I saw many interviews, my colleagues who have been hiring, and they tell me the first cutout is time. Come late, we cut out from the word go.
Yep.
You don't want this badly enough. You can tell us about traffic jam. Traffic jam has always been here.
Yes.
You should factor it in your planning. And if you want something badly enough, there's a guy who was told I think he had gotten a contract with a company run by one of the big politicians here. And the big politician, the leader of opposition at that time, had arrived for the meeting. The guy was 3 minutes late and it was cancelled. He had already gotten the contract. They were coming to agree and sign. And so the head, the chairman of the group of companies,
Yes.
who happened to be chief of opposition at that time, those people are busy people.
Yes, they are.
So they're meeting you tomorrow 9. We have a 15 minutes meeting so that you can meet chairman for the final.
Yeah, very
Beginning the
important.
tender.
Yes.
The chairman always meets whoever is working to get to see and agree on a few things. And we're meeting 9. He arrived 9:03. It was cancelled. They are gone. 9:06. Is it here? 9:01. Let's go. They went back to tender. They took number 2. He lost big jobs, and he had a good reason. There was unusual traffic. The foolish women, the foolish virgins. There was unusual delay
Yes.
with the groom.
Yes.
There was unusual delay of traffic because
Yeah.
of traffic. And you still lose it.
Plan ahead.
When you want something badly enough, do whatever you're supposed to do while you are there.
Yeah.
We worked with you in Switch. Was I ever late one day?
Never. Ever.
I wanted that show so much. I could not afford to joke around with it. The other thing I don't like, running and being
Out of
anxiety,
breath.
you know.
Yes. You're sweating. We don't know. Do we roll cameras now? Do we fan him? Does he need water? What does he need?
And do you know, even your producer, we had connected because of that.
Yeah.
And because I came to read, for me it was almost, it's personal convenience.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. When a person, those are work ethics I was teaching people and how they make a difference when you go somewhere. And I was telling that sometimes better arrive, that duty you're supposed to do 1 hour before, do it while you are where the other one is. For example, a meeting that's supposed to start at 7:50 and I have another meeting at 9
Yes.
in Upper Hill.
Yeah.
Let me go to Upper Hill in a convenient hotel there, sit there at 6:30. I do the meeting of 7
Yes.
that ends at 8:50.
Yes.
Because the other meeting is just nearby here, 10
Yes.
minutes. I can actually notify my host I am around.
Yeah.
That gives the host a lot of peace of mind.
That is, it is very respectful what you say.
You know.
Very respectful. I live across the county from where we are located.
Oh, by the
here.
way, I didn't say this girl never. Today I was thanking God for you in my mind.
Oh,
That's the problem with the men. Sometimes you're happy with the women and you don't say it. That's a good girl.
I live.
I was thanking
Yes.
God because I never have to call you.
No.
It is so stressful
Yeah.
when you're supposed. Marilyn Monroe was like that.
Yes.
She was so late. Shooting with her was so stressful.
Yeah.
But she was a star.
Yeah.
Irreplaceable.
Yes.
But they were saying working with her was a headache.
Yeah.
Because the whole crew is ready.
And she's not. It is. I think it's the utmost disrespect. So I like what you say about getting there early. So I know I have to do my makeup. It will take about an hour.
Very good.
So I'm here by 6:30.
Very good.
There's a place I park, and I do my makeup in the car. And when it's about 7:40, I'm close by, and then I just walk in.
And when it is 6:30, you can get parking. There are many advantages of being
Many.
ahead.
The parking, there's no problem.
You know?
Yes.
And I think early birds have a culture. I heard one guy say he passed by Runda at 5 before 6, and there was traffic jam.
In Runda.
He was coming from the eastern side of the, and here jam starts at 8.
Yes. 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 So that's why we're trying to beat it. So we leave earlier.
So what we are discussing today is also a work ethic,
Yes.
but it's also a high scoring point in relationships.
Yeah.
The punctuality, the keeping your word. I like it when a person says I'll call at 8 and you see at 8 they call. 8:01 they call. So that you get done with, and if they have gotten an inconvenience, you see a communication, a text. Informing you of the inconvenience. It's so decent and civil. So today what we are discussing, really, I use the word honesty because you are more used to it.
Yeah.
I do not want to use the other technical terms, but really,
Wow. Okay. Let's get to it. Let's get to it.
what we are discussing today is integrity. You want to marry a person who is one with themselves.
Yes.
The opposite of integrated is disintegrated. When a person is not integral, they are disintegrated. They have cracks inconsistencies and gaps and shady areas and two sides, and you can't predict, you can't tell, you can't rely on, you can't hold on to their word. Among your list of qualities, start with that one.
Okay.
You want a person of their word. One day I sat and thought, the way I am a structured person, if I was to marry a dishonest person, she can cheat on me for 20 years.
Because they know your routine.
I'm so structured.
Yes.
Even a child can read my program.
Yeah.
Dad leaves this time, comes this.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So I said, what is my hope? Because there are many people who quote God and go to church, but they have no integrity.
Yeah.
So going to church is a good thing, but it's not the only security. I found my answer in the fact that I married a woman of integrity. I had thought about it because I had heard these stories you hear in classic, wherever, people realizing this person has been cheating for years.
Yeah.
One man was struck with double tragedy. That after the death of his son, he realized it was not his son.
Oh.
Now he's mourning his son. Now it's not quite your son. Because the death was happened around 3 people were involved in the accident, and it was impossible to tell who is who. But his son was among the 3. So they had to do a DNA to find which.
But he doesn't have a son then.
Yes.
That's how you find out. Whoa.
Imagine that. How many tragedies are these? What are you dealing with? Just imagine that.
You know, there's a pain of losing, then there's the pain of lies you've lived knowing.
Do you know there's a kind of injustice a person can visit upon you?
Yeah.
And we said this kind of injustices can affect your view of life, your view of yourself, your trust, your sense of truth and balance in this world. Disorient you until you mentally break down. Some people you see who have psychological issues, they were visited upon them by these degrees of mistrust, by these degrees of injustice. When you have been living true and faithful,
Yeah.
you are meant to raise children that are not yours. So I thought about it and I said, how do I brag that I'm safe from such kind of atrocities? You know, my answer came to this, what we're discussing today. That's why we need to discuss it.
Okay.
So that people stop underwriting it. You want to marry a person who has integrity. And I'll tell you signs of integrity.
Okay.
Integrity means a person of character. Character is what is consistent. Character is a person who lives by principles, virtues, and values.
Yeah.
The people who don't have character, but we sometimes call them, that's another character. We use the word in a sense to say.
I've never thought about it that way, but we use it a lot. That's another character.
To say they don't have character.
Yes. It doesn't even have a name.
So character there usually mean player. That's another player. That's another actor. It's another. No, usually.
Yeah, that is true.
So a person of character means consistency, and the following are the signs which taught me that I was safe with my woman.
Okay.
That although she has all the room to do what she wants, she won't do anything, And I wanted a woman I can empower to live her life.
Yeah.
Without me being the police. I want us to be able to release life. We live life as a dance, supposed to be a dance, not arresting. Or when you love a flower, you don't pluck it.
No.
You nourish it.
Yes.
Too. Love is about appreciation, not possession. So I want to appreciate you, make you flower more. And I would feel so good to see you fly, shine. But what secures me when you're over there? It's the fact that you're a person of integrity. And the first sign that she had a genuine friendship with God. I want you to start there and be very careful.
Okay.
And I'll ask you one question and you will struggle with it.
Okay.
Your homework.
Okay.
A person who does not have a genuine reverence for God, what is your basis for trusting them? When there's temptation for money, temptation for sex, temptation for something that is tempting, genuinely tempting.
Thing is grounding them.
When a person does not have that, and the temptation is in front of them, and you will never know. They have a chance to do something that you will never know. Joseph, why would you run away from a woman who has money and offering sex?
Integrity.
He did not have a wife.
No.
And the boss would never have known.
No.
She was the last woman to ever report to anybody. Because she's the one who stands to lose more.
Yeah.
The reason these affairs run for long is because both of them are interested in keeping it
a secret.
You know?
Yeah.
Remember that. Our society today argues about God and calling him religion, calling him universe. Universe is creation. He is the creator. Romans 1 warned you, this generation will come up that will be worshipping creation rather than the creator. Universe is collection of stars,
constellations. And
that's creation.
Okay.
And he just said, let there be. But because they know the creation does not impose any demands on them to change their lives and repent their sin, so they nominate it to be their God because it's a safe God. Universe is working, universe doesn't work. So, yes. People have been arguing about God, your religious beliefs, don't impose on the other, and don't sound like a very, what you believe in. So it just, they have clouded the idea that you need a person who has genuine reverence, friendship, relationship, walk with God.
Yeah.
That's why perversion has prevailed. There's a God-shaped hollow space seat in every man's spirit. You are shaped for God. He created us in his own image. By image, he did not need physical resemblance. Spiritual kinship. That's what he meant. Let's make man in our own image.
Okay.
Kinship, like I have a child, and the child, when they're young, they may resemble me. They grow to resemble me. Later on, they have their own face. Resemblance here and there, but generally they have their own looks. But they still carry my DNA.
Yes. God
meant the DNA, the spiritual mapping. And he still asserts his presence today. Science is supposed to discover God's work. Science is supposed to look closely and tell us what they see.
Yeah.
Sciences are just sophisticated observers. Please just remember that. Stop elevating them as if they can create anything. They just have better instruments for observing. Closely, tiny, far away.
Observing.
Please.
Hey.
Don't make it as if they are an entity of their own. Science have come to discover that. If I send you to a sophisticated house that I designed to go and study it, you don't study it and come to realize there was no architect for this house. It created itself. That's what they're trying to say. They were said to go and study what God created. No, there was no creator actually, because they have to deal with him if they acknowledge him.
Yeah.
People know there is God. They just don't want accountability. It's a problem of ego, not head. Remember that.
Okay.
It's a problem with the heart. The problem is sin. The problem is sin, not whether God can be seen. God can be seen, but the sin does not want God to be seen.
Okay. I see
Pun intended. But you can see. So,
yes,
a person who has a reverence for God, that's what gives me a security about my girl. I know. The way she's friends with God, I'm safe. You're only safety with any human being. We are all trying to look for money. When money comes, we no longer have pressure. And then money brings temptations. How will you handle temptations when you don't have a genuine walk with God? That's why many people want to go their way. They throw away their relationship with God because God won't allow you to do some things.
Yeah.
He will...
Easy way out is walking away.
He will whip you. Yeah. He will startle you.
Yeah.
Your conscience won't give you peace. So, because God dwells in your spirit, and many times your spirit is where you feel your conscience. What says this is right, this is not right.
Yeah.
Conscience is not a feeling. Remember that, please. Don't confuse it. Conscience is not a feeling. Many times your feelings are craving that thing. But it's the conscience that is refusing. True or false?
That is true. That is very true.
So conscience is not a feeling. It's a sensitivity.
It is.
It's a repulsion against what's wrong, attraction to what's right. Even when your feelings are craving for that thing, you know your conscience knows it's not right. So, God sits in your spirit, you merge with him. When you get born again, you are alive in God. When you want to do something that is wrong, you will feel him convicting. The Spirit of God will convict you. We have been taught not to grieve the Holy Spirit with which we have been sealed for the day of promise. Now, to seal is to be marked indelibly. Be very careful. The Holy Spirit is gentle, does not force things.
Yeah.
He's here to walk with you.
Yeah.
And the trouble with Samson is he did not imagine God could leave. So he woke up to do what he always did. And he said that he did not know that God had left him. You don't be careful. When David messed up, he said, do anything, but don't take your spirit from me. So be careful with that. The second thing you know a person is integral.
Yeah.
That they have integrity. That it's when they respect themselves. Signs of respecting oneself is having minimum behaviors they cannot engage in, even when there is reward. You need a person's language that says there's things I can't do. For example, cutting corners, taking somebody's money, lying to get out of a situation. When you talk with a person, you will see them getting into situations. Life is always happening.
Yeah.
See whether they'll go out of their way to correct. One thing I like with my girl is when a conductor forgot to take the money, she will take the trouble to take it to him. Look for those small things. When she has been given excess change at a supermarket, she will take the trouble to go back. So I think you miscalculated here. This money is yours. Because she's reasoning like that girl will pay for it. These guys are always surcharged and their salary is very small.
Yeah.
Again, this is not my money.
It is not.
I don't want to stay with money that is not mine. Look at their behavior with money. Look at their honesty in things where they have the freedom to do what they want. Imagine you've gone for maternity and your husband is at home with another woman who is your house help. Or you are away for some place and what will give you surety? What if you come home and that girl has resigns inexplicably and you are getting along very well?
Yes.
But all of a sudden she goes away. Will you have a troubling sensation? Whether maybe somebody tried to harass. And you've had other cases where they usually live quietly because.
Yes.
What if you see house help pregnant and you could the thought cross? Could it be? These things will be answered by the way you know the person elsewhere. How you have seen them handle situations with self-respect. Remember, we picked honesty as the most common. That is an indicator on another iceberg.
Yeah.
It's only the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Deep underneath, is this person godly? Do they walk with? Do they have a reverence? When you talk about fear for God, you talk about it's not the fear of dreading.
Yeah.
It's reverence, high respect. You highly respect. Joseph says, I can't do this thing and sin against my God. The second thing is, have you seen self-respect in those situations where they could not take advantage even when the advantage was in front of them?
Yeah.
Have you observed it? Them saying, no, I can't do that. Have you seen limits to which they can't stoop below? The reason corruption is widespread because people don't respect themselves. And we do not see that integrity is needed in personal relationships. Do they steal your boss's money? Their boss's money. The other day, a vehicle fell here carrying food and people came to steal the food.
Yes,
they don't respect them. I saw a woman carrying, go and put in the car. How will you raise children? How will you stand up to yourself? How will you pray? How will you expect to be honored, caught by cameras? And I liked one guy who was simply walking in the opposite direction, talking on phone. I loved that. There's at least one character who does not want these free, cheap things.
Yes.
Who knows whether this food was, maybe it had aflatoxin.
Maybe.
They were trying to dump it.
Yes.
Or you are stealing food from somebody from Tanzania and they go to Loliondo to bewitch those who stole it. And because you stole, you're not protected. Okay, now you know where my examples are coming from.
I'm like, my Kamba friend.
I've seen people who use those methods and people still get a lot of bad omens. This is a spiritual world.
Yeah.
People can cast spells.
Yes.
My father used to tell me, he taught me so much that even if today I find money on the ground, I don't pick it.
It was a thing. I don't know if it's still taught to. I can't pick money on the ground.
You know, if it's in a place in the plot, I'll inform the caretaker. You can try to trace the owner.
Yes. If you decide to put it in your pocket, it did not go to my pocket.
Exactly.
Yes.
And many of these monies are not monies that can change your life.
No.
it's you know, and it's not something that was on my budget. And that way, since I stopped collecting money, I also stopped losing money. I don't know how these things operate. I don't know how they operate, but there was a connection. When you're picking and hiding, you'll also drop.
You'll drop.
I remember a time I I delayed to tithe. I was not serious about it.
Okay.
It was 500 and I
Yes.
should have just given him 50 shillings.
Yes.
And I delayed. I lost all of it. I gave the conductor to take fare and he kept quiet with the change. You know the way they keep quiet?
Yes. And that was it?
That was it.
Oh.
That was the last time I ate tithe.
Oh.
Because I remembered that now the devourer is not rebuked. I'm not protected. It's, there are many 3 levels of tithing which I'm not getting to. But the one we are used to in Malachi, it says I'll rebuke the devourer. The one where we have the king of Salem, where Abraham is offering to the king of Salem, is Melchizedek. It was worship. Then there's another tithe that Jacob gave. Say, if you bring me safely, I'll give a tithe. That was covenantal. So the first one is worship. The other one is covenant. The other one is law, Malachi. We only know Malachi.
Hey, we need to live. This is a conversation we need. Or
So
I need.
Many people struggle with their finances because there's no covenant about your money.
Yeah.
It's all about you. And when you finally get the money, it becomes your God. If you get money without God, when you get it, it will become your God. Money demands attention. When you own properties, first of all, they need to be managed. You need to watch over them. So they can take over your day, try and check over. You also need to pay attention. What kind of properties? When you are with God, He shows you what kind of properties will not distract you from your main calling.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to accumulate wealth, properties, assets, things. So me, there are businesses I can never run because they're too demanding and they will distract me. I want quiet, almost assets. So I want things being in partnership, covenant, agreement with God so that I stay on track.
Yeah.
Tithing is not just about giving. It's about involving the wisdom of God and being sure I'll come back safe. Like Jacob, I always say that when I come back to where I came from, when I return, David said, I'm going the way of all the earth. So when I began to come to go the way of all the earth, in one piece, this is my agreement with you. For my journey, this is what I'll be doing with you, so that I may arrive safely. The last thing, you will be checking whether a person has integrity. And it's subtle, but it's very important. There are some things when a person is awake, when they're living consciously, when they are aware of life, when they are reflective, when they are thoughtful, they will show through orderliness, cleanliness, things like hygiene and attentiveness to their looks.
Yeah.
There are people who are so out of touch with themselves that the level of disorder where they live and carelessness and messiness, this is not a reflective person. Yeah. A person who's in touch with their own sense and smell and sight, the environment, you will see an effort to live a clean life. To live in a clean environment. So the last sign you see a person has integrity, they are one with themselves, is you see that they manage their space responsibly. How? Cleanliness. How? And I'll tell you this, you may not see the connection now, but I keep telling men, all men of character are clean. They don't see the direct relation until they marry them.
It's difficult to know if they are dirty.
No, there are signs.
There are signs?
When you observe, men don't observe. They're busy trying to sleep with them. When you observe women, you see it. Nobody can hide perfectly. In fact, the police have this slogan that there's no perfect crime.
Yes.
Every crime leaves clues.
Yes.
So that's why they can crack case after 20 years of it being cold. they'll stay on it, believing there's a clue. There's a clue. And they'll finally get the clue. So a person who is aware, and I'm not saying we must always be perfectly clean. So some of us are not that given to that neat, but I may not be neat, but I am sensitive to my environment. So I will outsource what I need to do. The day you see a person's car that is scratched, muddy, tattered, that is also a very mentally scattered person. And even when you live with them, it will torment you to see how insensitive they are to things, just like they were insensitive to their own immediate environment. I saw one lady driving a car that was full of dust, and she's passing by car wash. And I wanted to tell the owner, ask her to get in, we will pay. And it's not a person driving quickly anywhere, but and she's just looking at people. She's not aware that she looks dirty in that car.
Yes.
You know, the last sign is you see a sense of responsibility, a person who has awareness about how they look and how they make others feel. If your person comes smelling sweat, smelling their breath and stinking, they are disintegrated in the thinking, scattered in the thinking. You've had people dismiss others as scatterbrain. And we actually have people who are scattered in the thinking. not organized, not orderly. And although we all have levels of hygiene to learn, levels of self-care to learn, levels, but you need sensitivity. All right?
Yeah.
If a person shows up with clothes that are so not ironed, things that are so not attended, what does it tell you? That's how they manage their life, and they can easily come up with excuses. I did not have time. So this a person will be escaping. Oh, I did not see it.
Yeah.
Oh, that. But a person who says, oh my God, sorry, I should attend that. Let me go attend to it. You need a person who, even without you watching, they'll do things right. Yes.
Oh my God, I love how you've packaged that, because we look at honesty sometimes from outside of relationships and marriages. We look at it as, as long as you're bribing a cop left, right, center to get out of a mess, then, it's just out there. Nobody's bribing me in the marriage. No one is giving me, So when you do not tie that into what it is that could happen or is probably happening in your marriage, then you lose sight of all of it.
Exactly.
And just to sum it up, because you know how we sum things up, there's a post about the same on Benjamin Zulu KE that is on Facebook, and he says, tied into this topic in general, avoid going any far with people who seem allergic to truth and forthrightness. You want a person who is decent and self-respecting enough to own up when they err and ask for pardon. If they have to use falsehood to shark where kizungu iko hapa responsibility, know for a fact that you cannot build a family or life with them. So those cool things, or they set out to look cool because they got out of a situation like this, because they're very resourceful, because they've got everybody in their pockets. Watch out for them. You do not want to start a family with that kind of a person.